Is this the real life? Is it just fantasy? This is truly one of those, is this the real life kind of situations. Like, I didn't really think I'd ever see this happen. I just assumed it never would. Normies and just everybody, the entire world, getting to see what really runs the world. And it's not money. It's kids. It's kids. Now when Pizzagate first hit the scene, a lot of us dug into it. A lot of us in the schizo community. And, you know, we're rightfully horrified. Some of the things they do, like, are things I would never have thought of, like, horrible shit that you would never think of. You know, that you would never, like, you know, you hear things about torture, or murder, or the stuff they do to kids. You know, it's, well, it's usually kids anyway. But the methods, like the Frazzle Drit video with Hillary, taking off the kid's face and wearing it as a mask to horrify them, laughing at them with their face on. That's fucked up. Like, stuff like that, I would never think of that. Or like in these new these new Epstein file drops, the idea of taking infants onto a boat, dismembering them, and then eating something that was in them. That's crazy shit, man. It is crazy shit, actually. And then the adrenochrome stuff, the pineal gland stuff, how they rip the pineal gland down and eat it to get high. And they also use that to create adrenochrome, which they described in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas in that movie. The lawyer, the fat lawyer there, was explaining how it was done, and he gave some to Hunter in the movie, Hunter S. Thompson, played by Johnny Depp. And he explained to him how they got it. And back then it was like, oh wow, that sounds crazy. Never realizing it was a real thing. Pretty accurate too. Hang on a second. I used to wonder, like, what people would say about all that stuff. If they ever heard about it, like if it ever came out. I used to think, like, imagine if people, like, heard this, like, in a more mainstream way. Like, if they had this stuff on the real news. And by real news, I mean mainstream media, because a lot of people don't, you know, believe anything that's not on the mainstream media. Like my dad's generation, the boomers, you know, because they grew up in the time where the network news was like the absolute pinnacle of truth. Like, of course it's real. It was a whole different vibe then, though. You know, we're coming out of an America that didn't know, that wouldn't dream their government would lie to them. And even, you know, throughout my life, like, I can't tell you how many times my parents have said when talking about something about the news, why would they lie? They wouldn't lie to you. You know, that doesn't make sense, you know. It's weird. So for a lot of, and even younger people too, if it's in a mainstream source or an official source, they feel like it's more credible, you know, which is ridiculous, but whatever. But yeah, so now you have like CNN and Fox News and these other kind of places, like more mainstream sources, talking about this stuff, this Pizzagate stuff, because that's what it is. It's all this other stuff. Same thing, a lot of same players. It basically the same subject. You know, the trafficking of kids for use in torture and dismemberment, used in rituals and blackmail. And like I said earlier, after you looking at this a while, you realize that money doesn't really mean anything. Money's only for us unwashed masses. The real power and control is kids, you know? I mean, that's what they use. Like a currency. It's fucked up. There's a lot of other reasons why you can come to the conclusion that money doesn't mean anything. You know, with the mega rich, it's just all like favors and stuff they own. Like they trade like mountains and stuff. You know, the cash is just for us slaves. And, you know, the people that are related to these dumps so far, George Bush, Bill Gates, those are names people like know. And to hear they were doing some of the stuff they were doing, to me it's not shocking. To a lot of us Pizzagate people, it's not shocking. But I don't know. I've always wondered what normies, everyday folks would think if they heard some of this stuff that went on. Like how they would react to it. And we used to think like, wow, would they care? Would they even care the way the world is now? Would it even shock them? I don't know. We're gonna find out. The first 3 million came out yesterday. Or the day before, and there's like 3 more million coming, and there's pictures and videos and all this other stuff. It's all getting around. I didn't know this was coming. You know, it's funny, you hear all these inside political things, and I get some stuff too. You know, 4chan's always putting insider baseball type stuff out there, like this is going to happen, that drop's going to happen. No one saw this coming. Just showed up. It just showed up. I don't know why, but the consequence of it is we're probably going to go to war with Iran. I think I mean, people have pointed out they think it has something to do with that. Like Trump was maybe dragging his feet about going to war. And this is just their way of holding his feet to the fire because he's in it. The Trump stuff, though, all of it, and his enemies aren't going to focus on this at all. All the Trump stuff so far has been anonymous tips, like that are involved in those files, like that people have called in and reported, I saw President Trump doing this, I saw President Trump doing that. But there's no evidence so far that they found that connects any of those anonymous reports to anything else. They're just anonymous reports that you could call on this phone line. There's a lot of people that hate him. And I could definitely see people in the DOJ adding stuff to make him look bad. They want him. He's a bad guy too, though. What this is, what you're watching really isn't a good side and a bad side. You're watching a bad side versus a bad side. We have 3 like major cults in this world. 2 of them operate in North America. There's a cult here in Hawaii too. The pretty big one, but I still have to live here, so we don't talk about them that often. I have talked about them, but you know. But anyway, the 2 major ones in America, you got the Moloch people, the ones that do most of the kid trafficking and the sacrifice and the kid eating, kid killing, adrenochrome people. And then you get Trump's people, sun worshippers, the Jesuits, just as evil, just as bad, but they don't rely as much on the kid trade. That's why when Trump came in, he started doing all this stuff to bust trafficking rings, kid trafficking rings. Because his people don't use them like the Moloch people do. So they are kind of fighting each other. Like I always say, like, you know, the political thing, it's all fake. Everybody's really friends. You know, Russia isn't mad at the U.S. And that's true. But there is stuff between these cults where they're vying for power, and they can make the other one look bad and get more reach and more resources. They ultimately work together, but they try to fuck with each other. You know, they're enemies to each other, but they're both are enemies to us, you know? So, a lot of people don't like him, and, you know, would do whatever they could to slow his roll, you know, with his agenda, in his world agenda. You know, some people are saying now we'll definitely go to war because this stuff came out and Trump wants to just have a distraction now from it. There's so much to unpack with this. Like this, I don't even know where to start. I'll report more on it as it goes along, and you know, I hear what people have to say about it, because I'm not going into them. I already know all this stuff. Like basically, you know, I'd spent years with that Pizzagate stuff, and I still need a couple cards for my Pizzagate trading card collection. It's a digital trading card collection, and I'm still missing a few. I think I've showed it off here a few times, but yeah, I gotta finish that. But that was like a super like depressing splash of cold water in the face type of situation, the Pizzagate thing. Because I remember when it first really kicked off, and I have a lot of stuff about that. Well, yeah, I do have a lot of stories about that people probably haven't picked up on. Like the first time ever when the fake news stuff came out, the term fake news. I watched it happen. No, just going, it's a quick story. They had John Podesta on not long after the Pizzagate stuff dropped. Pizzagate was basically the emails from Hillary Clinton's email server that was between traffickers and pedo ring people. WikiLeaks in the email where they're talking about chickens and hot dogs, but they're like, it doesn't make sense. Like Obama ordered $60,000 worth of hot dogs to be delivered on a Tuesday night. Stuff like that. Like, you know, Hillary talking about sacrificing a chicken in the backyard for Moloch. She wasn't talking about chicken, you know. It's so I mean, all that stuff. The thing about it too. Oh, the Podesta story. So he's on not long after, maybe like the same week, and he's like trying to cope about it. And he was like, what you're hearing from these sources is fake news. They're not real. These are just stories made up, and they're disguised as real news, but they're fake news. I'm like, that's a funny term, fake news, huh? He's gonna roll with that. And then the next day, Trump's doing a speech where he has the press laid out in front of him. That's good. Assembled in front of him, and he calls one of the CNN people. He's like, "You are fake news." And I was like, "Oh, he's using that term to throw it back at him." That's good, but he wasn't. He was just saying it on his own. The script came down that they had to push this terminology out into the world, so they all were going to do it. And no one really had heard. No, I had the opportunity to just right place, right time. I saw the John Podesta thing. I saw the John Podesta interview, so I saw him use it. And then the next day I saw Trump use it. I thought it was because John used it. No, he didn't. They were just both given the job to push this out there, to drop that in the lexicon of public rhetoric and discourse. And you can see like that if you search fake news in Google, you see how it comes out of nowhere and spikes up, and then, you know, all the other times it's come after that. But yeah, I saw a launch of fake news. A lot of stuff came from that, the whole Pizzagate thing that we now, you know, just know as regular parts of schizo conspiracy stuff. John Podesta. If anyone's ever seen it, what's the video called? I forget the name of it, but it's him torturing some kid in like a shower with like a purple light in it. You can't see him or the kid because they're behind this color, kind of opaque glass, so you can just see shadows moving, shapes, but someone recorded it, and it's the most fucking harrowing thing. Once you hear it once, I defy anyone to ever listen to it again. I force myself to listen through to it just for once, but I don't even want to tell you, what would you call it though if you're trying to find it? 'Cause it's out there. It has a name, just one name. And John Podesta, shower, torture, you can do something like that and find it. It's fucking horrifying. It's horrifying. The stuff they do to kids, because they got to get them scared, right? Because when they're scared, it adrenalizes their blood. It puts all their, your cortisol goes up, and your adrenaline goes up, and then when the adrenaline's in the blood, and then you drink the adrenalized blood, it not only gets you high, but it does all this other stuff to you, like supposed to help make you keep aging at bay and all this other kind of stuff, which all blood kind of does, because there's stem cells in it, which is a real thing that, has those kind of properties. Urine has the same thing. But, there's seeing all that unfold and seeing how quickly it was memory hold and banned and no one could talk about it. This guy, Ben Carson, was his name? Ben Carson? Maybe it might be confused with Ben Carson. Ben Swan? No. He was a local newscaster on one of these ABC or NBC affiliate local shows. Like how they have a local affiliate, they're different in every city. He has his own kind of show, like Ben Swan Investigates, and he did a Pizzagate thing, and he got in a lot of trouble. He disappeared from the station, and you didn't hear from him for a long time, like 6 months, and then he appeared on his website, which was inactive, with a quote from Sun Tzu, which showed he was still alive and in it somehow. But the biggest thing I came away with from the whole Pizzagate thing is, after like a year, the realization set in that no one's going to do anything about this. Like, I remember seeing all the initial stuff and going, if I'm reading this and I can see all this stuff and I know all this, then there are men somewhere with resources that can do something about this, and that will do something about this, of course, right? Men with means, even if it's a clandestine operation, they don't have to announce it. And nobody did anything. Nobody came for those kids that were still in bondage and fucking cages in someone's basement in Washington. There's so much to that. The Elephantis thing, Pegasus Museum. And that goes on, and those kind of things go on here. There's one that's happening here that I ain't fucking gonna talk about, but it's like, they have another business. It's almost like what's going on with the daycares in Minnesota. There's a similar thing here for kid trafficking. And you look up the addresses in like the Google Maps thing where it goes to Street View, and you find yourself at just residential houses in the suburbs. You're like, wow, that's not the business it says it is. And then you do a little bit more reading, and basically it's a kid circle thing. They have a lot of that in Hawaii. In fact, Podesta has a place here that Hillary refers to in emails as his hot dog stand in Honolulu. I made a graphic for it, or a piece of art with him standing in front of his hot dog stand. It was on my Instagram, but I think it's probably lost in time. And he had the hot dog stand. He's holding a hot dog, and he has little signs like, for prices, and please ask for this and that. and one of the cardboard had written on it, "You will call me your father." F-A-T-H-A. It's dark, but pretty funny. I'll see if I can dig it out. I need a lot of art pieces like that for this channel, if you want to call them art. And I used to post on my Instagram, but all my Instagrams get taken down. I lose all that shit. But yeah, that hot dogs, the Honolulu hot dog stand. So he has an operation here. There is a people trade kind of thing going on here that I again have talked about in the past, but I don't like to. It's not specific just to kids. It's like it's an organ thing, you know. I've seen parts of it, heard parts of it, watched it being done out here. Just people walking, escorting certain people that you know. It's a weird feeling because I'm like, that person's gonna be chopped up, or at least lose a kidney. Maybe there'll be a lot. You could just, I don't know. I don't want to get into it because like the cult here in Hawaii, I have to live there, you know. I also have to go into Target, so hang on a second. Yeah, so for a lot of people, this is the first time hearing these kinds of things. You know, this idea that this kind of stuff is going on. A lot of people are just completely fresh to it, while others have heard about it before and said, "Oh, that's just conspiracy here." That, you know, that was Pizzagate was debunked. Which I think the first one the guy to say it was debunked was Podesta. That is information that's been debunked. It didn't happen. Yeah, he was going on saying it was debunked. There's so much to that is so fucking crazy. The guy, the Patsy guy, the actor they hired to go there and pretend to be a concerned citizen, took a couple shots at the place, and wouldn't you know it, the bullet went right into their computer system, right into the server, and destroyed everything. The lone bullet he shot. Wouldn't you know it? It's like they're fucking mocking us. I mean, they got to be laughing about that. That's like, the idea that they could do that and say that and just get away with it, but they knew they could get away with it. You know, people. You call the police, let them know. And then it shows James Oliphant just like hanging around with the fucking police chief, laughing and joking. Never call the police in any kind of spook situation. Never do that, you know, because either they're directly involved with it or they already know, and they're involved with it in a way to keep you away from it. You always hear a lot of murder cases and stuff where it's like, and the police didn't do anything. And yeah, they don't, because they're usually working with the people that are doing it. There are no good guys. Like I said, you know, dawned on me after a year of the Pizzagate stuff being out there and no one doing anything. I was like, oh wait, we're the good guys. We're the only ones. We're the only ones. That's probably why they hate us so much, you know, and go through so much trouble, time, and expense to try to take us off the board game. But they have to play by certain rules. You know, I always talk about getting banned, you know. They can't just pull up and ban you. This is a spiritual warfare situation, and they have to follow there are rules of engagement. And you got to just figure out what they are and how to dodge around. Now, if you're doing something like if you're stockpiling weapons in your bases, of course you're going to, you know, man's laws. But if you're not breaking man's laws, right, and you're just exposing people and, you know, bringing the red string from picture to picture, and it's the kind of thing people don't want connected, while they would love to just be able to come by your house and throw you in a van, they can't do that right away. They have to, there are things they have to do. There's a position they have to put you in before they can do that. And you actually have to make that happen. they can't just aggress on you and do things to you. You have to do it to yourself. That's how it works. For most stuff, anyways. Part of the spellcraft. You know, like they can't just jab you with a poison. You have to line up for it and ask for it. You know? That's how it works. So in the same way, you got to get yourself banned. You know, you'll get warnings about stuff, but you'll be aware. You'll be aware that you're crossing the line when you do. I like to walk right up to the line and like do one of those, like just like, well, that one, oh no, this one, no, you know, fuck with them a little bit. Whenever I'm in that situation, you know, whether it's being investigated by some group or like a gang stalking thing or something, I always play completely oblivious, always. So I get to know what's going on, because as much as I should like take defensive tack and get myself away, my curiosity is stronger than my self-preservation. And sometimes that can go wrong. I was trying to think of a curiosity killed the cat joke that would be funny, but the Rolodex just spinning. We can, nope. I was attempting it though. It's not that I missed the reference. I don't miss anything. You know, that's why I'm hated by certain factions out there in the world. But yeah, there's going to be a lot more stuff coming out, a lot more reactions from people. It's interesting to watch. I mean, since I started doing this 4 years ago, I haven't really had a slow news week. You know, like, oh, I have nothing to talk about this week. It's more like sometimes I have to get away from it, from my own sanity. That's when I'll do, like, you know, music stuff or stuff about movies or whatever, just hobby type shit. But there's always something, and as time has gone on, it gets busier and busier. It gets more crazy and more crazy. Like, there's so much going on now. It's hard to keep up. It really is. Sometimes I feel overwhelmed. Like, I'll be coming out here and I'll just turn the fucking phone on and go like, ah, fuck. You know, there's so much. Where do you approach? Where do you dig in? You know, where's the entry to this? It's too much sometimes. Are they still graffitiing this thing? Like, yeah, they clean it, they graffiti it, graffiti it. Prior to COVID, we never had a problem with graffiti. No one ever did anything to this. But now we have the people that do graffiti who were brought here during COVID to basically terrorize things and kick the crime rate up. And they've done a good job. They're working as intended. And they are a feature, not a bug. But yeah, I can't talk about that stuff again. It makes me angry. It makes me too angry. But yeah, so I'm gonna keep an eye on this and see what happens, and I'll spiritual war correspond along with any developments, and give my experience perspective on it. You know, it's going to be a lot of people talking about it. I mean, the mainstream news is now into this thing, so in some kind of world, I would be one of those Fox News experts, you know, because I could be about you know, the trafficking thing. And it's interesting how it's going to work on YouTube, about what changes, because sometimes I've had videos and others had videos too, where there was a time when you couldn't even say Pizzagate, or you couldn't have it in the title. Some of these things you couldn't talk about, trafficking, and now it's like news, so it's like, you know. Hang on a second. That's my building manager, Alistair. I just wanted to say hi to him for a second. He's a British guy. Is he from the north? I don't know. I think I asked him if he probably from the north or the south. I think he's from the South. So he's a bit more posh. But he's a good guy, and he has to put up with a lot of bullshit here, especially since we had those the new COVID people move in, who we never had in this building before. And you can't leave Amazon packages down there anymore. The notes, you can't leave that. People stealing them. Just all kinds of crazy shit we never needed notices for. We now have notices for. It's nuts. But again, I said I'm not gonna wander into that. I got enough on my plate here with this Pizzagate thing. It's the normies being forced to face this stuff. And that's the most interesting aspect of all of it. Until next time, though, thanks for dropping in. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.